Hey there, we're back with another installment of Star Citizen. This time we're in 3.6.1. I've been dying to check out this patch, and specifically, we're going to take a look at mining with hover mode. This will be the first time I've come into the hover mode and checked this out. I've been away from the game for a little bit.
How you doing, you old pirate?
And a lot of people have said that hover mode is really hard and almost impossible to mine planet side with the hover mode. We're going to find out. So the first thing to do is to get out the old trusty prospector. It just feels rugged and industrial for that solo play. I really kind of like the styling and everything of this ship.
She's got it where it counts, kid.
There is currently a known bug at Port Olisar with trying to get your ship off the pad. You definitely need to thrust forward and backward and kind of break it loose a little bit. But I haven't really experienced that in any of the other places I was taking it. So we just went straight to a couple of the closest moons around Port Olisar just to try to do some mining there and use this hover mode. So flying the ship actually seemed fairly normal to me.
Fly casual.
I didn't really notice anything in particular until I got down to the surface of the planet. Now here, I'll admit, hover mode is a little difficult, and the Prospector in general, it's a very sluggish ship, and it moves around. It's almost like driving a bulldozer a little bit, I suppose. But so you do have to be very careful as you're approaching rocks. Now, I did find that the scanning actually works really well in this release. They've got it so you can ping. It does pick up these rocks at a distance.
It's too far out of range.
Not for long.
There's probably a few little problems with it, but in general, I was able to pick up rocks, and they seem to be in clusters for the most part, even though there are some singles out there. And it looked like the content of the rocks was actually pretty high, a lot of high mineral percent content. So after playing around with this a little bit, I realized that just landing the ship on the surface and letting the ground stabilize me was great. I could then use the mouse to guide the laser around, either to fracture rocks or to extract rocks, and I wasn't moving all over the place. That hover mode, you pitch too far forwards or backwards, you start to move the ship. And so this was a great way to mine planet side and get that stability that you need for that fine grain extraction. Also, just in general with flying in hover mode, I realized that I also needed to dial that speed limiter almost all the way back. Even then though, you can really lose control of your ship. I tried to do the little nudging maneuvers that you might have seen in one of my previous videos where I'm moving the rock out of the way to get to one of the better rocks underneath, and I was able to move it here in this hover mode, but things kind of got a little crazy. I was able to gain control of the ship again, and things worked out pretty well. I was able to stabilize it out. Now there is a button, I haven't really used it here, but it's the X button. It's supposed to level out your ship and stabilize it, but it's not a magic button, because if you're moving forwards here in the hover mode and in this new flight model with that, you're sliding. Your momentum will just keep carrying you. So if you've picked up a little bit of speed, you're going 30 or 40, and you hit X, that's great, but maybe it'll level you out, but you're still going to keep going 30 or 40. It seems like it didn't really help me that much. I felt it was best to just try to get the ship stabilized and level and stopped. Once I got the ship stable and not moving, then I actually just used the thrusters alone to maneuver myself forwards, backwards, side to side, up and down, and didn't use my normal throttle that I have. I've got a little slider on the side, and in a previous video, I had set the hat to really adjust the speed limiter up and down and still use the hat for thrusting side to side, but here I found that did actually mess me up a little bit. It was just a little confusing. So I've reset that a little bit. I'm using the hat both for forward and back thruster control and side to side thruster control. And I am having to go back and use the mouse to adjust the speed limiter, but that's okay. I still may play with that. I'm not going to say that's the best setup with the joystick and slider, but one of the things that's difficult for me with my slider, it doesn't have a zero position. You just have to kind of figure that out and fiddle with it. So getting the ship to stabilize was the hardest thing, but not impossible. I was able to do that and then go sell my goods. And even with selling the goods, being able to navigate in and out of the landing bays that they have, it really helped a lot. Stabilize the ship, take a look around in the third person view with F4, and just use those thrusters to slowly maneuver yourself in position. I actually liked the increased difficulty with the hover mode.
Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept.
And with flying, mining, and landing.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
I've got to say, Star Citizen is as much about the doing as it is about the actual activity itself. So for me, giving me a higher degree of difficulty with the actual flying and with the hover mode, I actually liked it. And the other thing I picked up on immediately is that the rock content and the payouts seem to be much higher. I'm bringing in some real bank here with these things.
A pave trip.
Which I appreciate. Got to make some money. So I think with these kind of payouts, what I might actually try to do is to see if I can work myself from just using the prospector and see if I can't get myself one of those 300i ships. That would actually be good. Get myself an Audi to drive around for a while. So that's it with this particular episode. I am going to come back and take more look at mining. We're going to look at different types of rocks, different types of payout, where you can sell them, things like that, because I have noticed you're really not able to sell everything everywhere, and it takes a little bit of skill. We're going to try to use this prospector as much as we can and keep coming back to the mining thing in a continuing kind of gameplay. We're also going to take a look at some of the smuggling and take a look at some of that. I may become a criminal after a while and be using the cutlass, but right now we're going to focus on the prospector and some mining for a little bit, but who knows, we may just mix it up. Until next time, enjoy the game, hit like and subscribe if you like what you saw, and I'll be talking to you later.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.